Welcome back to Milton Mo Junction. I just, in the intro video, title video, whatever you want to call it, I actually showed the finished fuel depot on the other side of the layout, so that is now sort of completed and bedded in a bit. In the meantime, you can see in front of you I've built myself a little cleaning truck. It's pretty basic. I bought a second-hand, see if you can see it, yeah. I bought a second-hand wagon on the well-known auction site reasonably cheaply, and I've adapted it a bit. This one had got a wooden base to it, so that was nice to drill the holes through. But what I've done is I've got some lead sheeting, which a lot of the wagons I've started to cut and put this lead sheeting in just to give a bit of weight to wagons. Now on this particular one I wanted a fair bit of weight because I wanted it pretty sturdy, so this yellow strip here is actually lead. I've sprayed it so that if I handle it I'm not touching lead with my hands all the time, bare hands all the time. But I've basically just drilled holes through it, 2 holes through the whole lot. I've got M8 bolts, I think it is, which I've glued into this bit of ply. They're at the back, obviously. I've then glued a bit of plastic onto it, and the cleaning pad is stuck to it, so when this one gets dirty I can just peel it off and put another one on there. I've got the bolts, the wing nuts there rather, I mean I don't need them because I've saw someone building something similar and they've just left them loose, but I just thought, so I can pick it up now with the whole thing and hold it. They're easy to take off, and I want to build something to cover these up. I'm also experimenting how heavy this is. I mean the whole thing is fairly heavy, but this, I mean it's weighted obviously because it's got the bolts themselves and the washers and a couple of nuts underneath, but I can make it heavier. I've got another piece of lead here which again I've sprayed, and that can go between those washers and the wooden ply platform to make it a bit heavier if I think that actually needs to be pressing down on the track a bit more. But that's a bit of an experiment. What I may also do is put some sort of cover on here. I might weather this as well to make it look a bit, but I mean I'm not sure that's necessary really because it's just a track, cleaning track. But if I want to hide it and leave it in amongst the other wagons, then I might sort of disguise it a bit more. But the other thing I did think of was obviously this pad here can be taken off and changed, but I did think I've got to sort of put the cleaner on that first, but I did think about putting another pad at the front and having a drip feed to it, so I have a little tank of whatever I'm using, goo gone or alcohol or whatever it is, so it just drips onto that pad to put on the rail. But yeah, I mean I'm not sure, but anyway I'll just start, I'll put this on the track and see how it goes and I'll come back to you. Okay, well I've been doing a bit of experimenting. It works better pushing than dragging, but I have another problem, which I don't think I can fix it at this particular moment in time, so I shall leave it here and see what I can do. I'll just let it run for a minute and then you can see what the problem is. It's just coming up to a point, and that's the problem. Hang on a sec and I'll show you. Okay, let me show you. I designed the thing around these pads which were I got from 10 Commandments. What they are, they're sort of cleaning pads but with a sticky double-sided tape on them, so you peel that off and stick it onto my base. On my first experiment I used an alcohol cleaner, which I think is Track Magic, and it's an alcohol type base thing. But the problem with that was when it soaked into the pad, it actually released the glue, so the pad came off the sticky backing and wasn't really so good. I mean, I think it would work. I mean, I'm now using Goo Gone on it, which is fine. It doesn't release the pad. I don't think alcohol would as such, but that brings me to the second problem. When you get to a point, the pad hits, and there we go, hits the rail guard. Not sure this is all points or whether it's just on mine. Mine are lens points, and it hits the guards each time. Obviously when it was with the alcohol it just ripped the pad off the plastic, off the sticky back, but Goo Gone, it doesn't do that, but it does stop it. So I've got to design a way around that somehow. I'm not sure, that's slightly raised, so I don't know whether I put a bit of plastic on just to lift it off the raised guard. Anyway, I think it works other than that, because if you lift it over the guard, whoops, it continues to work, and it is cleaning the track. So the weight isn't a problem, I don't think. If I take off some of the weight, it will still hit the guard, and it's the problem is the actual pad hits the guard and stops. It just digs in. I don't think how much weight I take off or add on was going to make a difference. I mean, so I think as I've got it at the moment is okay. So it's sort of a little bit back to the drawing boards. So yeah. It only catches one way, but the problem is the points. Yeah, I can't guarantee all the points are in the same direction, and they're not. So at one direction it's going to catch. So I'm going to have to work at something on that. Okay, well that's the answer. I've cut the strip down so it just touches the rail. It needs some adjusting, obviously. I mean, that's not quite catching it, but that one's pretty good. And it's cleaning it, so it's just as simple as that. Obviously I'm going to have to do a bit of refinement to it, but that does solve the problem. The added bonus, of course, I don't use so much padding, and I'll continue to sort something out and make it a bit better so it's easier to change. I was thinking of putting little ramp where it hits the guard, but I mean, this is much simpler. Okay, this is the final adaptation of the underneath. These were the troublesome points, or all the points were troublesome, but this is the first one it got caught up on. And as you can see, it just goes over those now. I'll just let it come round, and then I'll show you what the final version is. more points there. There's some points under the hidden siding at the, or the hidden curve at the back. There's a set of points there, so yep, it goes around everything. And just to let you see what I've actually done, there we go. I've put another raised bit of plastic on the side of the main bit of plastic, glued that there, and that means I can now just stick the pads onto the raised bit. I don't have to have a line or anything like that. They could rub off, and stick the pads on the solid piece. I now have them on the raised bit, so that's the final version. Yeah, quite pleased with it. I've taken the weight off. I don't actually need that. It's quite heavy. I was on the rail track, so that's that. So I suppose for you it's like watching a genius in action, isn't it? I'm only joking. Yeah, that's the final version anyway. So thanks for watching. Any comments, please feel free to leave. Thanks again. Bye.